Once upon a time, while in Need for Speed Unbound, I was thinking, how come after more than 250 hours of playtime, I still can't remember where am I going? While in free roam, I ask myself, can I go from place to place without placing a GPS tag or teleporting, or without driving like a maniac through trees and seas in the general direction of the event? And the answer is almost always no. I think it's because different places look too similar to each other. For example, the gravel looks the same in the city center, by the sea, at the ski resort, in the mountains, and at the construction site. On a closer look at things that might contribute to the feeling that everything looks too similar and remembering places and roads to these places is very hard, I've pleasantly found out for myself that those who built the world were actually very thoughtful. The best example would be the gas stations, which, when looking closely, are actually very different. There are such details as different base tiles, different bricks, different colors on windows, different window frames, different banners. And I actually think that this is very cool. Also very cool is the size and dimension numbers on the sidewall of the tires. What's very interesting is that all tires on gameplay cars say 235 by 40 R20 with 93 load and Y index of speed. For example, on the M3 Touring, 235 in front is believable, but back tires should be 275 to 85, and Porsche Turbo S should be 305 in the back. They are visibly very wide. NPC cars have 235 by 80 R15 on the sidewall. While talking details, after it rains there actually is an effect of the roads drying, but it is a bit chaotic, because realistically the pavement dries from center to the sides because of the slope of the road in order to evacuate rainwater. If the road has a lot of traffic, the tire trails are first to dry on pavement and the last on gravel. In Unbound, it just happens, without following physics. Another interesting thing is that while on side squads there's simple 2-lane roads, one per driving direction, and in the city center there's almost only 4-lane roads, 2 per driving direction, which I'm not finding very cool. Driving through buildings feels very monotone, there's no joy and no sadness, no actual emotions. I understand that tall buildings dictate large spaces between them, but it usually is felt a little different than in the game. Realistically, there should be bigger plazas, more sidewalk, bigger patches of green, proper parking spaces, not just cars parked on the road. Maybe even bike lanes and train rails, and only 2 lanes for driving. That's why I think that air train rails are not a fan factor in the game, because there is space for them on the ground. Another missed opportunity to make the city more memorable are entrance banners for shops and restaurants. They are placed a bit too high, a bit too flat colored, too flat formed, and do not have any artificial light. At the same time, we have activities and collectibles with the same pink neon light spread through the map. I think they are too distracting and it's not really possible to distinguish between them, at least at first glance. So even when finding a vibe in free roam, those often ruin it. Another very important thing related to orientation and vibe is the sky. And the sky is actually beautiful but a bit strange. When trying to remember directions, a good exercise is to hide the map interface. Then eventually you'll find much more details on gameplay display, billboards, trees, side roads, off-road tracks, the sun, and a lot more. And noticing the sun position during gameplay directed to the most interesting discovery about the game. All gameplay action happens roughly between 4 AM and 11 AM. According to the map, the sun is always to the east. During the night events, it's close to sunrise by the sea, and during day events, it's high in the sky, but still not noon. I think that is the strangest thing, and that's why I felt bamboozled for the whole time since I started the game. When thinking about street racing, I am always under the impression that it happens after sundown when the roads are almost empty, but there's still some traffic just in order to keep things interesting. And then those said racers would wake up close to afternoon and their day life starts closer to the evening. But in Need for Speed Unbound, characters wake up at 3 AM, go racing till afternoon, then maybe go about their day. That time period is displayed in the prologue, and from my subjective point of view, that is the most unrealistic part in the game, where racing should feel more like an extracurricular activity or a much loved hobby, as such the game is for players. All of this does not mean that Need for Speed Unbound is a bad game. For my taste, it is the best since Underground, which I would happily play even now. The only other Need for Speed that drew me in almost as much would be Hot Pursuit from 2010, which by being simpler is actually better. Beautiful highways, beautiful cars that suit the display even without tuning, no unnecessary open world. In Hot Pursuit, by replaying races that go through the whole map, the experience is more memorable. On different segments, you could get different vibes and pulse ranges from high to lows, all in the same race. That's actually what I expect from a racing game or from any other game. And those were my 50 cents about Need for Speed from the point of view of an architect. Architecture is not just about designing a beautiful building, but about creating a scenario and environment for life. That's why I haven't really talked about specific buildings from the game. If I would have to pick one, it's the unfinished construction from the Origami Drift Pro event, which I think is why it exists for. Maybe after a lot of practice, it's possible to do a long, beautiful, continuous drift from start to the finish line.